Every lesson is a lyric in the universal song. Oh, the lessons of the journey, I'll weave them in my song.
Welcome back to Lessons of the Journey. I'm Coach Jen here with Coach Nicole, and today we're talking about AI. But not in a, this is the future and everyone should use it kind of way. More like, how do you actually use this tool in a way that supports your life without taking over your thinking, your voice, or your decisions? Because before we even get into how we personally use it, we felt really strongly that we needed to start with the rules, the boundaries, the awareness, the foundation. Because this is one of those things where how you start using it really matters. First, let's define what AI is. According to Google, artificial intelligence is the simulation of human intelligence by computer systems, enabling machines to learn, reason, solve problems, and perceive environments to achieve specific goals. It powers tools like ChatGPT, chatbots, virtual assistants like Siri or Alexa, and self-driving car technology. So in actuality, if you ever talk to your phone, then you already use AI.
Yes, you do. So let's agree that for our series, we're actually referring to an app that you specifically go to for help. It could be something that's built into your phone. It could be something like ChatGPT. And please excuse me personally, if I use the terms AI and ChatGPT interchangeably, I tend to do that. It's just the app I prefer to use. I think it's easy right now for most of us to either feel like, number one, AI is overwhelming, or like it's the magical solution to everything. My take right now tends to be closer to the magical solution because I feel like life is overwhelming and AI helps me sort some of it out. But really, it's neither of those things. It's just a tool, a powerful one, but still just a tool. And like any tool, it can either support you or slowly take over in ways you didn't intend, depending on how you use it. I think a great example of a tool taking over in ways we all didn't intend is our phones.
Mm-hmm.
So this episode is really about awareness, not rules that restrict you, but guidelines to keep you grounded and in control when using this type of technology.
Let's start with something very practical. We love practicality. What you should not be putting into AI. And this one is simple. If you wouldn't put it in a public forum, don't put it into AI. That includes things like your social security number, banking information, passwords, your home address, credit card information, unless you're safely buying an upgraded version of that AI. Also, anything sensitive around health or legal situations, and even things like private business information or client details. I think a helpful way to think about it is this is not your private journal. It's more like a really smart stranger. A helpful stranger, but still not someone you share everything with.
Yeah, I think about it this way. Would I go into one of those Facebook groups and ask the question there?
Mm-hmm.
If I would, then I would go do the same thing with my AI apps. That's how I think about it. And I'm a pretty sharey kind of person, so there's a
Me
lot
too.
of questions I would ask that maybe some
Guilty.
people wouldn't. But you got to know your range there. Okay, these are the things we've noticed people doing that can actually make AI less helpful or even a little harmful over time. Number one is using AI as a replacement for thinking.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably the biggest one. Asking it what you should do, what you should think, what decision to make, and just taking that at face value. That's where you start to lose your own voice a little. You definitely don't want to be doing this.
Mm-mm.
Number two, assuming it's always right. AI can absolutely be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They can be confidently wrong.
Mm.
So you always want to stay in a place of this is information, not truth. Number three, asking vague questions. This one is really more practical, but it makes a huge difference. If you ask vague questions, you'll get vague answers, like give me advice or write something for me. It's not that it can't respond. It's just that the response won't feel personal or useful. Number four, copying without editing. This is where things start to feel, well, a little flat. And let's be honest, you can always tell. AI can give you a great starting point, but it should never be the final version. Put yourself in there. Number 5, letting it shape your voice. This one is subtle, but over time, if you're not careful, you can start to sound less like yourself. More polished maybe, but less you.
Yeah. Y'all, we're unique, just like everyone else.
Absolutely.
But that's what makes you special. We don't want to hear AI. We want to hear you.
Yeah.
So this is where things start to shift because AI becomes way more helpful when you change how you use it. Most people use it like Google. They go in looking for answers, but it works so much better when you use it as a thought partner. That's a great phrase. So instead of asking for answers, you start asking for clarity, perspective, expansion. For example, instead of give me advice on this situation, you could ask, can you help me think through this situation and show me a few different perspectives? Or instead of, hey, write this for me, you could say, here's what I'm trying to say, but it feels messy. Can you help me organize and clarify this without losing my voice? Even something as simple as, what am I not seeing here, can open things up so much. The key here is you're still involved. You're still thinking. You're just using AI as a tool to help you see more clearly.
I think these are so important. And I love that we're going into the details of how to do this because I really do think a lot of people just say, give me advice.
Yeah.
I want the AI to help me be a better me.
Yeah.
Not different.
Well, but also consider who do we go to in our real human lives for advice? We go to people whose perspective we have previously enjoyed, who might think similarly or might on purpose think differently than us. So if we're continuing to ask the same questions to a computer brain, how do we really know that this is, quote, advice that we should be considering for real? That gets a little tough for me.
Yeah, it has to feel real, that's for sure. We're going to go into that in our second episode, into the details of how you keep your voice, because that is really important when it comes to AI. And for the people that I know that have fear around using it, I think that's what their biggest concern is that they're going to get lost somehow in it, or that it's not going to help them in a way that's valuable. So one thing we've learned pretty quickly is that AI is only as helpful as how you interact with it. And there are a few small shifts, really simple things you can do that make a big difference in what you get back from the AI system. You don't want to start a new chat every time you ask a question. Staying in the same thread when you're working on something specific is important because AI actually builds context as you go. So if you're working on a piece of writing or a decision or an idea you're trying to flesh out, keeping it in one conversation helps it give you more relevant, more thoughtful responses. It's less like asking a stranger a question and more like continuing a conversation. By the way, this is really helpful in vacation planning, which I'm going to be diving into next episode as well. Really important that I stay in the same context because then I've given it, hey, I want this. Hey, I like this. And it starts to go, oh, that's what I'm talking to. This is a really important one, is not starting a new chat every time. Number 2 is give it context first. This is huge. Instead of just asking, can you help me with this? Start with a little context. Tell it what you're working on. Tell it what you're struggling with. Tell it what you want it to feel like. For example, I'm trying to write something that feels honest, but not overly emotional. Here's what I have so far. That one shift alone will completely change the quality of what you get back. I personally have expressed to AI, this is not my voice. It doesn't sound like me. This needs to be way more. Usually it's direct. That's too soft for me. I would never speak like that. And it goes, okay. And we work through things. Giving it that context is one shift alone that will completely change the quality of what you get back. It needs context. You're talking to a computer. Yes, it is artificial intelligence, but it's artificial. So it needs to know your intelligence. What do you want from it?
Yeah, exactly what you're saying, the context. Am I asking a friend for advice, or am I asking a CPA to tell me what the right tax code is?
Yeah.
Two totally different things.
Yeah.
So you have to treat the AI like that.
Yeah. You can literally say, answer as if you were my best friend, or answer as if you were a CPA. Yeah, I love that. The more you can give it, the better response you're going to get.
Yeah.
The more clear, the more in the voice you're looking for. Yes. And if it comes back wrong the first time, don't give up. Number 3 is treat it like a back and forth, not a one-time question. A lot of people will ask one question, get an answer, and stop there. But the real value comes from going back and forth. You can say things like, can you make this simpler? Or this doesn't feel quite like me. Can you adjust the tone? Can you go deeper on this part? Let's refine this. You're allowed to get clarity, dig deeper. That's where it starts to feel more personalized. If it doesn't feel like you or right for you, then either dig deeper or move on. And remember, it's just a tool. I will tell you, I now shop with AI because my ChatGPT and I have had a very long conversation about my wardrobe. Very long. Like this chat is so long. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to figure out how to organize them more. If you guys know that trick, please let me know. I'll be somewhere and I'll go, okay, I'm considering buying this piece for my wardrobe. And then we will talk about it because it's my personal shopper based on a lot of information that I have given it.
Yeah, interesting.
I love that piece because it saves me money.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I would not have thought about that. I know you use it a heck of a lot more than I do. I wish I were smarter with it. I'm glad we're having this conversation. So we need to ask the AI to think with us, not for us. This is one of our favorites. Instead of asking, what should I do? Because where's the context there? You can try, can you help me think through this? Or can you show me a few different ways to approach this? It keeps you in the driver's seat while still giving you support. Maybe bring up things that you hadn't even thought of, and then a whole new perspective is opened. Number 5 is save the things that work. When you find a way of asking something that gives you a really good response, save it, use it, because you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. You're basically building your own little toolkit of prompts that work for you. And at the end of the day, this isn't about using AI perfectly. It's about using it intentionally. Small shifts in how you interact with it can completely change how helpful it actually becomes.
So true. I want to bring up something that is actually a little bit of a controversy out there right now. And it's the concept of, should we be nice and kind to AI? When this is where the controversy gets really big, is should we be teaching children to be nice to AI? Should they say please and thank you? And there's 2 sides to this. So I'm really interested in seeing what Jen's take is on this. I'll go through these for you. Number 1 is, you don't want children to think that AI is a person. You want them to understand that it is not a human. It is artificial. It's a computer that you're talking to. A robot is usually the word we use for littles. That's the one argument, is if they use please and thank you, they're not treating it like a robot. They're treating it like a human. Now, here's the opposite side of that.
Yeah.
Humans are habitual. Say you're an adult and you're working in an office and you're constantly using AI and you're doing things without saying please and thank you. You're saying, do this for me, do this for me, do this for me. Then you turn to your colleague and say, do this for me, and not use your pleases and thank yous. So there's the habitual argument. You want children to have that habitual say please and thank you and not get out of saying please and thank you when using AI. There's the 2 sides of it. So Jen, I'm only grandma, so you're a mom of littles. What's your take?
Okay, well, none of my children are using AI. Oh, I take it back, because we do have Alexa. My kids do say, thanks, Alexa. Now, the funny thing is, and not funny, maybe dangerous, is that Alexa acts as though it's a family member. A partner in whatever is happening inside of the house. So we have Echo in our house. It's the same as Alexa. My kids will give prompts to it, but they know that they're talking to a screen. Now, my children, if you've ever met them in person, are very polite children because we speak that way in our house. Please and thank you for everything. So when they get an answer that they're really excited about, it's like, yeah, cool, thanks. Only because of the excitement, like they could have said it to the sky if it was raining and they asked for rain. So I don't notice in my children that it is getting confused. Now, they are also not of the age where they're writing reports on a computer that they need to turn into school. We haven't crossed that bridge yet. I honestly haven't thought about it. Paul and I haven't talked about what that's going to look like. It's one of those, we'll see where we are when it happens kind of things. I think my children see me getting frustrated with Siri because she can go F herself. Honestly, like, I'll be like, hey, Siri, blah, 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 blah. And she'll be like, I can't show you that, you're driving. And I'm like, you're supposed to speak it to me. That was the whole point that I was asking you. My kids will be like, Mom, how fast can a cheetah run? I'll be like, hey, Siri. And then Siri will say, would you like me to use ChatGPT for that? I don't know if that's a setting on my phone, but there's a very active frustration in my house. I go, no, just tell me how freaking fast a cheetah runs. You know the answer. Just say it. I think my kids are like, okay.
That might be a setting.
It might be. But for whatever reason, Siri doesn't like me. So there's an active frustration. I think that my kids at this point in time, because of the way we use it and don't use it, have a very clear intention on this is a screen or this is a computer. This is a thing that is a tool that can help me, but clearly it doesn't do everything that I need it to do because I have my mom and dad for that. They're still that age, right? I know that parents are dealing with AI and kids copying reports and not thinking, plagiarism, like all of these things that we would get in trouble for. Now they have AI tools for teachers to run reports through AI. So it's getting to be an interesting thing. But as far as my kids go, I think they still understand that it's a computer. Yeah. Most of the time it's, hey, can you play this song? But that's the extent in our house.
And I appreciate that. Thank you for that input because I was wondering about that. I can relate to you. I have cursed out Alexa a few times, just so you know. I think for me, because I have a 9-year-old granddaughter, and the other day she asked Alexa to play a song, and then she said, thank you, Alexa. And Alexa said, you're welcome. And I thought, I love that she's polite. I don't want to tell her not to say thank you, because I think the habituality of humans is even more important than the fact that she's talking to a computer. But I also want to have a conversation with her because now that she's 9, she has such a deeper understanding of things. That's just connected to a computer. There's no human there. Mm-hmm. And I love that you have good manners, even with computers.
Yeah.
I say please and thank you. I just thought it was interesting that this is such a debate with kids. And then I guess the computing power of adding the extra pleases and thank yous. Well, if we're going to talk computing power, like you might be mad at how much I waste the computing power on probably stupid questions.
I read, I think it was about OpenAI, about ChatGPT, that so much money is wasted because they have to process those pleases and thank yous. Yeah. That they're like, stop saying it. You don't need to say please and thank you because it's actually wasting resources. After reading that, I stopped typing it. You know, sometimes I would be like, wow, thanks. Like if it gave me a great answer that I was really happy with, I'd be like, wow, thanks, or cool. Or I would just make a comment like I would to a person, hoping to give it feedback. And then I read that and I was like, oh, it doesn't need my comment. So I stopped typing it. But when I'm speaking, I do find myself, hey, please tell me, because that's how I speak. I do that in the speaking forum. I stopped doing it in the typing forum.
So I don't know the facts, but that was part of the discussion with adults, was whether it wasted computing power. I went to the source. I asked ChatGPT if pleases and thank yous waste computing power, and it said it is a very nominal amount. Who knows if somebody blew it up for an article, or who knows if it's true or not. We don't really know what the truth is. I still write the pleases and thank yous. Here's the reason I'll say thank you, or I really like that answer, or that works for me, because it's learning me. Yes. And I want it to know me better. Yes. Because then it understands how I think. Now, I want to bring up one thing I use it for that has saved me money. I'm a woman of a certain age, and therefore I am fodder for the marketing geniuses who want to get rid of all my little wrinkles. I'll be playing a game and an ad will come up. I'm like, maybe that'll work for my face. How do I know? So I'll go to ChatGPT and say, look up this product and tell me if it's effective or not. Because I've gone through my skincare routine with ChatGPT and it knows about, like I have a thin dermis, microneedlings don't work for me, certain things don't work for me. It will answer me with that data in reference to that product. And most of those products are just really well marketed. They're actually not very good for us or effective. Yeah. So it has saved me a lot of money. If you listen to the first few episodes when we talked about money, later in the day, we tend to be more like, oh, that'll solve all my problems.
Yeah. Bye. No, I really like that. More recently, we've used it to compare new car options.
Love it.
So my kids are growing up. I've got 3 boys. I drive a 4Runner, and it's bench seating and maneuverability and 4-wheel drive because we live in Hawaii, and what's going to handle my Costco load if all 5 of us are in the car. Things like that.
Yes.
What has captain's seating in the second row versus 4-wheel drive, all-wheel drive? What's the best SUV option for my family? Thank you, ChatGPT. I didn't have to do all that research.
Absolutely, because you would have had to do it. It's wonderful for that. So before we move into the next episode where we talk about how we actually use AI in our day-to-day lives, and it's not just the little things we've discussed today, there's a lot more. We wanted to give you this foundation first, though, because this tool isn't inherently good or bad. It's just a tool. What it really comes down to is how you engage with it. And when you use it with awareness, it can support you in really meaningful ways. But when you use it without intention, that's when you can start to drift away from your own voice, your own thinking, your own decisions. So just keep coming back to this question. Is this helping me be more like myself or less? Let's get into some takeaways.
Takeaways, everything, honestly. I mean, this is so new for me specifically. I know it's been out for a long time. I really didn't use it when it first became popular. Like, I wasn't paying for the ChatGPT upgrade or any of that. I was like, oh, let's run a couple random questions through it. So I like what you were talking about in setting the tone, what we should never share, the mistakes that everybody's going to be susceptible to. It's good to know that ahead of time so you can kind of adjust the way that you're asking questions, how to ask those better questions, give it clarity, and then not accepting the first go round, really kind of picking apart the ideas that it's coming back with. I think that that's how you make it work with you instead of for you.
Yep.
So it was good that we went through all of that.
Yeah, I've had it answer me before many times, and I go, oh no, I meant this. I didn't mean that.
Yes.
So that it would be clear.
Yeah.
And I've also had it like repeat things it said, but I always think of it as, well, if I was talking to a human, they repeat shit too.
Yeah. So, it's really doubling down on that
one. I think for me, my takeaway is really paying attention to, I'm a sharing person, and there's really never anything I've asked for chat that I wouldn't ask in a forum, because I want answers to things and I'll ask the crazy questions. I feel like all of this is so important. It's always good to reiterate what not to tell it, what not to say to it, but then also how to be more effective.
Yes.
I'm learning through using. That's really how I've learned all of the things that we're talking about today that I know. It's just because I use it. The one thing that I haven't been doing that I'm really going to take away from today's episode is, if I've asked it a question and it got a great answer, I'm going to copy and paste that question actually into my notes program. So I can then turn around and ask it a different question, but in the same way. I like that. That's a really smart idea. You don't have to rethink the wheel.
Yeah, you don't. And you also still have to put yourself in it. Like, can I tell you how many realtor bios I've seen where they copied and pasted exactly from ChatGPT that tells me nothing about who you are or what you've done, but that you are a beacon of, why does beacon come up in every realtor profile? I don't understand. There are certain words. Nobody says beacon. No, please do not copy and paste things that will go out to the public from AI into a profile, because it makes you look really disingenuous. And I do not want to work with somebody who couldn't on their own tell me about who they are and what they can do. If you think that you're going to input 3 qualities that you think about yourself and then have ChatGPT tell you that you're a beacon of whatever, and then copy and paste it into your bio for whatever line of work you're in, please stop, because it's really annoying. Not all of you out there are beacons of something.
I don't know if I'm a beacon of anything.
I don't know. That was like the word for the longest time.
Isn't
It would
that
even
funny?
show up in my stuff. Why is this showing up? Here are words you will never use with me again. ChatGPT. I am not a beacon. It was a whole list that I started. I really had to shape that. It was getting too flowery. And I was like, this is not who I am. I had to go back in and delete all of my chats and start over, because apparently I was setting it up for something that was just trying to pander to me instead of really be a thought partner.
Yeah. And that does make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Questions. You want to go first?
Yes. Okay. So I was recently watching a Marvel movie with my kids. And here's your question. If you were cryogenically frozen, Nicole, for 100 years, what would be the first question you would ask once you became unfrozen?
Pretty much everyone who's in my life is gone. Maybe their kids are around. What's the first thing I'd ask? Probably some sort of question about the state of the world. How the world is doing in its country interactions, something about that. Like, how's the United States doing? But then also, how is the world doing? Do we all get along? Are we friends now? Did we all find a way to be friends?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what I would want to know.
That'd be
first.
good. Yeah. How do I approach what I'm getting into right now?
Although I have a feeling that if I had to guess, in 100 years, it'll be exactly the same as it is now. Unfortunately. That's my first question.
All right.
My question for you, Jen, is what's the craziest thing you've ever asked AI?
Oh, now that I use it, I ask AI everything. I don't know if this is crazy, but I was using it for learning. It might be weird to people that I would ask ChatGPT how to respond to Paul in text messages in the Gottman way. When I was learning, it might sound weird to people. Like, why would you need to ask something that's interpersonal? What I was doing was I didn't know how to respond the right way, the way that we were learning. So I would respond and I'd be like, ooh, let me run that through a Gottman filter, because I know that this works for us. So I would take that text and I would put it in and I would be like, make this Gottman. It's not like I was like, here's my crazy thoughts, make it nice. It wasn't that. It was, I'm trying to learn where I'm going wrong here. So here's what I would say. What would the Gottman say? And then I get to go, oh, I see where I went amiss here. And now I must be slow because I had to do it a lot. But I learned. It was exactly a thought partner in that. So Paul even was like, okay, Gottman AI. And I was like, I'm trying. I'm really trying. He called me out on it one time and I was like, okay, don't copy and paste.
That's what you learned. You're like, I'm putting a little bit of me in
that. But that's when I was like, it is a thought partner. It doesn't get to decide what I'm saying. This is what I want to say. How do I run it through the filter in the way that we've been practicing so that I can maintain that connection? I had to do that for a little while. I don't know if that's crazy, but it was an intimate thing that I needed to learn. And I think most people might not put such an intimate thing into AI. And I was using it to help me understand how to create those thoughts myself in a way that was going to be beneficial and effective for that particular conversation.
So I'll just change my question to what's the most brilliant thing you've ever asked AI? Because I personally think that's brilliant.
Oh.
Because what you did there, and we didn't even talk about that as our tips, give it the system you want it to function from.
Yeah.
When I did my wardrobe, I said, use this system to help me with this. So it has a guidance versus just random. You said Gottman style.
Yes.
And let's be honest, if you had the time and could get the answer quick enough, would you have put that question into a Facebook group? Yeah, probably. You'd be like, here's what my crazy ass wants to say. What should I say, you guys? Like Gottman experts.
Yes.
Why not?
Yeah.
And what comes back may sound totally not like you. And then you're like, okay, now I have to adjust this. It teaches you your initial response versus what you want to really be like because that's someone you love. No, I think that's brilliant.
Okay, we'll go with brilliant.
We'll go with that's the question I asked.
Okay. In our next episode, we'll discuss what this actually looks like for Nicole and I in real life. The good, the helpful, and even the moments where it didn't quite work. We'll chat with you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Write your lives with passion.